The aim of South African Drug Policy Week is to bring together the 120 to 150 most important stakeholders in the drug policy debate in South Africa. And we introduce them to a variety of international experts and to some new ideas which are based on evidence and best policy. We're very fortunate this year to have Professor Michael Kazakchin present and be one of the keynote speakers at the South African Drug Policy Week. He comes with a wealth of experience and is a commissioner on the Global Commission on Drug Policy. The commission is a collection of some of the world's most prominent figures, former presidents, business leaders such as Richard Branson, political leaders such as Nick Clegg, the former president of Switzerland, Madame Ruth Dreyfus, and of course Professor Kazakchin. Professor Kazakchin has been an envoy for the United Nations on HIV and AIDS issues, and also he has was formerly the head or chief executive officer of the Global Fund. We're also very fortunate to have Steve Rolls here. Steve Rolls is from the organization Transform, and he's a senior drug policy analyst, and he's the author of the book After the War on Drugs, How We Go About Regulation, or Models of Regulation, should I say. We're very fortunate to have him here because he gives some very practical advice on how to deal with drug policy and regulating drugs. We also have a couple of other important key speakers, and considering the cannabis situation at the moment, Myrtle Clark and Jules Stobbs, better known as the Dacha couple, will be presenting here as well. We're very fortunate that they are able to take time off of their busy schedule to share their experiences with us, especially considering the new court judgment by Judge Zondo. The position has shifted significantly from the first South African Drug Policy Week, which happened in 2016. At that time, we had absolutely no OST in the country. We had no needle and syringe programs, or very few needle and syringe programs. And now we've progressed to a stage where we've got opioid substitution available for people who are dependent on heroin. We've got needle and syringe programs. We've got the Global Fund present. And so there's been a lot of progress. But what's come out of this one, which is particularly interesting, is the move towards decriminalization and the legal regulation of drugs. I think there were a lot of arguments that made very good sense out of this counterintuitive approach to drug policy. And we really need to consider these options as South Africans, even though they might feel a bit foreign or a bit strange or counterintuitive to many of us. I think that one of the great assets of this particular project or this week is that it brings together people into a safe environment. It brings these people into a safe environment. And that includes police officers, senior police officers, operational police officers. It includes the head of the Central Drug Authority, or the chair of the Central Drug Authority, members from the Department of Social Development, and a lot of other key stakeholders. And it brings them into the safe space where they're able to have open and honest conversations. And often this is the first time that they're having them. They're also exposed to new ideas. And quite frankly, a lot of them have never been exposed to these ideas, and so they didn't even consider these as options. And I think that what we've seen is we've seen members of the police services move their position and realize that perhaps it's not the most effective way of measuring police when one simply counts arrests, and this clogs up the criminal justice system and essentially creates further problems into the future. I think that the CDA has also shifted their position quite significantly. I'm not saying it's just because of SA Drug Policy Week, but certainly we've been part of the dialogue. And just the participation of SA Drug Policy Week in these processes has been extremely beneficial to all South Africans, I believe. But most importantly, I believe one of the key things is that we involve networks of people who use drugs in SA Drug Policy Week, and they bring a unique perspective from the ground of what the impact of these policies are on their lives and why these policies often drive the use or the dependent use and problematic use of drugs rather than resolve it. Personally, SA Drug Policy Week means a lot to me. I guess it's sort of the flagship of the work that I've been doing, and I couldn't have done it without the help and the assistance of Julie MacDonald, and basically the two of us have seen this grow over a number of years. I've met some of the greatest minds in drug policy, from Ethan Nadelman, Professor David Nutt, Michelle Kazakchin, Madame Ruth Dreyfus, and Anand Grover, just to name a few of them. It's been a tremendously valuable experience. The policeman, the former undercover cop, Neil Woods, made such an impression on me, and we're really close friends now. And these kinds of things, these kind of relationships that have been built, have helped me grow as a person and helped me understand the issues that really affect a large proportion of our population. And really, it's motivated me to continue this battle, to to get change and to secure the rights of the most marginalized people in South Africa.